So this question is an angles and bearings question, but it's a little bit contextually driven. So it is a little bit complex to understand initially. We're told that bearings are measured from true north, which is the direction towards the geographic North Pole. However, a compass will always point to the magnetic north, and that's a small difference. So we're told here that it's 6 degrees different in terms of where they're pointing. So if Scott is hiking in a location where the magnetic north is 6 degrees difference, then this is the direction that we're doing. So if he's trying to go to the north, but he's actually going magnetic north, then he's going 6 degrees different to a place. Okay. So if he is at point A and he wants to hike to a second point, which is point B, so he starts at A and he's trying to get to B, which is 5 kilometers away in the direction of true north. So he's trying to get to here, and this distance is 5 kilometers. Okay. And we're told that as his guide, he uses a compass. So he actually ends up walking in the direction of magnetic north. So he's obviously going to be traveling in the magnetic north also 5 kilometers. So this is also 5 kilometers, and this takes him to point C. And we need to write down the bearing to which that he is traveling towards magnetic north. So bearings are always from north and in a clockwise direction. So clockwise is this one here, until where I'm trying to go to. So given that we're told that this middle bit is 6, therefore we know that the bearing is going to be 360 minus 6. And that's going to give us 354 degrees. So that's the first part of the question. And then for part B, we're told that if they're hiking 5 kilometers to point C, which we've already drawn, then I need to find the angle of A to C to B. So A to C to B. So I'm just going to draw what this looks like as a separate triangle. So A to C to B, I have point A. He's walked 5 kilometers to point C, but he actually wanted to go to B, which is 5 kilometers. Let's make this a little bit smaller, which is 5 kilometers here. Okay, and we're trying to work out the angle of ACB. So A to C to B is this angle here. So I'm trying to work out this angle. So in order to do that, we know that the angle at the bottom is 6 degrees. We know that the two lengths are 5. Okay. Therefore, if we are trying to work out this missing angle, this is an isosceles triangle. They're both the same length. They're both 5. If I drew it a little bit differently, you would see that this is 5, this is 5, this is 6. Therefore, these angles have to be equal to each other. They have to be the same. So it's 180 minus 6. That equals 174. And then we're going to divide that 174 by 2. And each of those angles is going to be 87 degrees. So 87 and 87. And then the last part, we need to find the distance from point B to point C. So the distance from point B to point C. And for this one, again, I'm just going to draw this triangle, or I guess we could use this one here. We're trying to find this distance. We know 3 of the angles. We know 2 of the sides. So we're only missing one side. You can use either sine rule or cosine rule. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to use sine rule just because it's a little bit easier to type in. So I have 5, which is the side length, over sine 87. And then I have, so that's this one here, sine over 5 over sine 87. And then I have this pair here as well. So sine 6 and the question mark that I'm trying to find. So something over sine 6. And these two things are equal. So I can now go to my GDC. And I'm going to type this into my numeric solver. You can see I've got this written here. And that gives me an answer of 0.523. So this distance here is 0.523 kilometers. And this is the distance of B to C. So CB or BC, doesn't really matter which one, is equal to 0.523 kilometers. So that's how far he's walked kind of in the wrong direction, and he needs to come back on himself. And then the last part, so calculate the distance from C to B. So for that's the last part of the question. So in the original exam paper, there was a part D that asked you to work out how long it would then take him to go from A to C and then back to B. That wasn't given to us in this question. So this question is just those 6 marks. In terms of how the marks are awarded, the first question is 1 mark. So this is just for your answer. The part B, the second question, this is asking you for the angle, and that is 2 marks. So one of them is for recognizing that it is a isosceles triangle, and the last one is for working out that it's 87 degrees. And then for the last part, the distance from C to B, there is 1 mark for using the sine formula appropriately. There is 1 mark for using the sine formula correctly, so substituting in the correct information. And you could also use cosine instead of sine. And then there is also 1 mark for the answer, which needs to be rounded correctly. Okay.